I want to answer to, what is in the jab and what's going on with the 5G. You know, the question that Pascal said, ask Astrid, because it's very important.
Yeah.
I've been into one of the first ones who really read and said there is oxide graphene. Some scientists in Spain, Professor Compra, found, massive oxide graphene in nanoparticle in the jab in June 2021. And then he made another report final in November 2021. And then others made, like Professor Arne Burkhardt, made very scientific, really in the lab of like a medical analysis of the jab. And he did in front of lawyers. He said this is a crime against humanity, and he anybody jabbing this thing is Pfizer. It was Pfizer, is a criminal. And he confirmed oxide graphene. He confirmed parasites. He confirmed metal, chrome, nickel that should never be there, all massively nanoparticle. And then he also confirmed there is a RFID type of thing in there. So he did a very interesting move. He took lawyers to say and to affirm. Now, there are others, and it's very interesting, how we go in a creamy scene. We have one more element, one more, some contradictory, some not. A lot of people are talking of mRNA, spike, mRNA, but they never really give the nature of this mRNA. And two scientists started to do the whistleblowing, Dr. Nagazi in Canada and Dr. Monteverde. And for me, that was a key to this creamy scene. And they said that for something to be biological, you need phosphor and nitrogen. And they found nothing like that in all the vials they saw, and it was confirmed again after. So it's not biological. What is in this little vial is not biological. So what is it? It is synthetic, nanotech,
yes,
and beyond. Maybe other things we don't know. You see, I leave it open because we are in such a crazy situation of evil that we have to be open so that we can stop and treat people. So now in the scientific community where I speak a lot, in conference, I show the graphic of first question, is it biological or not? It's not, it's synthetic. It corresponds with what David Martin said. I should never have accepted those patents. They're all synthetic, not biological. Then you start explaining, but if you explain mRNA, you have to define if it is synthetic or not. You have to say, is it a nanorobot you call mRNA? Or do you call mRNA the consequence of a causality, and the causality is something synthetic and like a robot, which I think that is. The mRNA spike is only an effect or an element of this nanocircuit and nanotech, because it's not possible that spike protein is everywhere in the body after an injection. So it is the transporter oxide graphene who is like a flying carpet. I've made a report on that flying carpet, and it's you can put a genome, you can put a parasite, you can put a bacteria, and you can code it, and it mimics the code of a molecule, because we have the codes of molecules with Dr. Benveniste in France, and Professor Montagnier tried to steal all his findings, and then he got killed. So we know that biocoding exists since 50 years, but it's become very sophisticated now, and they can send this biocode to the oxide graphene. It's a terahertz. It can stock, you probably know that, it can load the data up to terahertz, and it can send it. And so it is like a computer. Bill Gates is perfectly suited, with his engineers to develop this with DARPA. So we know that this can take control of the mind and of the body. And I invite everybody who has not seen this fantastic video of Dr. Charles Morgan of DARPA, and he's teaching on YouTube, the military, how oxide graphene can take command of someone on the other side of Earth through Wi-Fi. And it's called Psychoneurobiology and War. You've seen it?
MWI speaker event for the few that could make it. Today we have Dr. Charles Morgan coming to talk to us about neuroscience and psychology and a whole gamut of things. Right now, he is a professor of national security studies at the University of New Haven. His focus is teaching national security studies, domestic and international intelligence analysis, and issues in deception. Dr. Morgan is developing a concentration in the human aspects, intelligence analysis, and psychological operations arenas that are relevant to the intelligence community. He has a pretty robust background with military folks, doing research at SEER School, helping with selection processes for special operations forces down at Fort Bragg, et cetera, et cetera. So, without further ado, I will hand it off to you.
So what I would like to talk to you a little bit about today is something I was asked to do in 2010 and 2011. I was getting ready to leave over at the CIA, where I'd worked for a number of years, and the Intelligence Science Board said, could you give us a brief on what's in store for us in the future? I was like, I don't know, predicting the future is really hard. So I told my boss at the time, I said, well, I think the best I'll do is make an estimate over what I think is going to happen in the next 5 years, given certain technologies that were being developed at the time. And this is a bit of an extension of that. I presented it to the SSG, and it was some information I think some people didn't know, and I think it's good for people to be aware of what's going on out there. The one thing that makes predicting a little bit of the future easier when you look at biomedical science is that labs are working fairly systematically with overtly stated goals. But the really fun part was that you're taking over somebody else's physical body with the mind of another human. So what do you think would be the next step? You follow medical research, you say you can make a robot move, you can make a human hand move. What would you do next? You say, wow, they're getting brains connected to run things. All right, you have to begin to think either like doctors or like security and intelligence people, right? Can you actually send and receive sensory information, like the Matrix? Dr. Ventnor's work is, my view, the equivalent of the development of nuclear weapons when you realize that he created life in a cell back in 2010. I don't know if people are familiar with his work, but this technology paired with something called CRISPR, which is like an editing software for genes, makes a number of things immediately available. What he did is he programmed yeast cells to produce anything he wanted. They can produce perfume, they can produce petroleum, they can produce any peptide, anything we program the DNA to do, and it's in the living cell. Right? So in medicine, the goal in medicine now is to be able to do designer medicine and therapy. If we can design a cell to get into your body and release the right product for you, you won't be losing half the drugs you take through your liver when you swallow a pill and it gets digested. These can be inserted into you through the hypospray needles, almost like Dr. McCoy on Star Trek, giving you the hyperspray. It just blasts now plasmids into your squamous cells. But Ventnor was able to do that and has the patent on the technology. But you can engineer anything. You can engineer a unique thing that would only kill one person in the world. You can engineer a unique thing that would only kill one person in the world. You can engineer a unique thing that would only kill one person in the world. It's how it's done. You put in a specific gene slicing, you program what you like, you put it in the cell, and it can reproduce and make as much as you like.
It's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, so when people are not convinced, I show them, go and see this, and you will understand already a bit. Go and see the pandemic preparedness for zombies. You will understand. Go and see that the ID is in the body of people who are dead, and even in the cemetery. And go and see at the autopsy that what they're taking out of the blood is something like caoutchouc, but nobody's really describing it. And I suspect they're afraid to say really what it is because they don't know. Because there are 2 or 3 scientists who said something very interesting that goes with this AI scient plasma going around. It's that there is a parasite as an egg. If you put it at the temperature of the body under microscope, it develops and the egg bursts out and something comes out with tentacles. And that's what you find in the autopsy. So there is something in the investigation we're going through. There's a lot to still, go and seek. and to understand the causality of causality and not only talk of this mRNA. I'm fed up of this mRNA. It's a messenger. It's not more. So I got censored in Stockholm in a conference because I said, go and look at the genome editing document that WHO produced, because this is important. But the cause of the cause is a synthetic injection with nanocircuits that go on with 5G. It's been evidenced by experts who recognized and did it, that it is a nanocircuit. It's beyond what doctors know, what normal scientists know, and we have to get every engineer or veterans who know anything about nanoparticles and nanotech to come and help us to understand what's going on, because we have to know how to detach this from the body and clean.